My name is Ibrahim. Until the spring of last year, I was a man who was completely sure of everything I believed. I did not just follow Islam, I fought for it. I was like a soldier guarding a fortress. My life was built on rules. I prayed 5 times every day at the exact right times. I followed every instruction in our holy books to the letter. I felt very strong in my faith. As an Imam, a leader in the mosque, I spent my time teaching others that they must follow these rules perfectly to be safe from hell. I also spent a lot of time preaching against the Christian faith. To me, Christianity was not just a mistake, it was a terrible sin. I believed they were worshiping a human man as God. I thought this was the worst crime a person could commit against the Almighty. I used to read the Bible, not to learn from it, but to find mistakes. I wanted to prove it was wrong. I would stand in front of my people on Fridays and tell them that the Bible was broken and changed by men. I told them that God has no son. I told them that the only way to heaven was to work very hard, do good deeds, and hope that Allah would be merciful. I was proud of my knowledge. I thought I was seeing clearly, but I was actually blind. It was April 5th, 2024. I will never forget this date. It was near the end of Ramadan, our month of fasting. It was a very special night called the Night of Power. Muslims believe that on this night, prayers are worth more than 1,000 months of worship. I was driving my car on the highway. I was going to the big mosque outside the city. I was going to lead the special night prayers. The weather was terrible. It was raining very hard. The water was coming down so fast that my windshield wipers could not keep up. The road looked like a black mirror. It was slippery and dangerous. But I was not worried. I was thinking about my sermon. I was practicing the words I would say to the people. I was going to talk about how God is one and how he does not share his power with anyone, especially not Jesus. I felt very righteous. I felt like I was God's special servant. I looked at the rain hitting the glass and thought it was a blessing. I did not know it was setting the stage for my death. Then, everything changed in 1 second. I saw bright lights coming at me. They were too bright and too close. A big truck was driving on the wrong side of the road. It had slid on the wet ground. It was coming right at me like a monster. I did not have time to use the brakes. I did not have time to turn the wheel. I did not even have time to say the prayer for dying. There was a loud noise like a bomb going off. It was the sound of metal crushing and glass breaking. I felt a huge heavy hit on my chest like a giant hand had smashed me into the seat. For a moment there was terrible pain. And then there was nothing. The noise stopped. The rain stopped. The pain stopped. I was not in my car anymore. I was not on the highway. I was standing in a strange place. It is hard to describe because there was nothing there. It was completely dark. But it was not just dark like a room with the lights off. It felt heavy. It felt empty. It felt like I was the only person in the entire universe. It was a coldness that did not make you shiver, but made your soul freeze. I was terrified. I knew what my religion taught. I thought I was dead. I expected to see the angels of death. I expected them to come and ask me the questions. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? I was ready to answer them. I started shouting in my mind, Allah is my Lord. Islam is my religion. Muhammad is my prophet. I wanted them to come because at least it would mean I was right. But no one came. There were no angels. There was no tunnel of light. There was no gate to paradise. There was only silence. It was a silence so deep it hurt my ears. I waited and waited. I looked for my good deeds. I had been taught that my prayers and my fasting would come to me in the shape of a friend to keep me company in the darkness. But I was all alone. I realized then that the darkness was not just around me. The darkness was inside me. I had no light in my soul to push the darkness away. I felt a cold fear rising up in my heart. I screamed out, Allah, I served you, I defended you, do not leave me. But there was no answer, just the empty, cold silence. I felt like I did not exist anymore. I was forgotten. I realized that hell was not just fire. Hell was being left alone with yourself forever without Allah. Then something happened. The darkness did not just go away slowly, it was smashed apart. A bright light appeared. It was not like the sun or a lamp. It was a living light. It was powerful and beautiful. It filled up the empty space. It stripped away every defense I had. In the middle of that light, there was a man. I froze. I could not move. I wanted to hide because the light was so pure, and I felt so dirty in front of it, but I could not look away. He was not wearing fancy clothes like a king, but he looked more important than any king I had ever heard of. His clothes were white and shining, but it was his face that stopped my heart. His face was strong, but also very kind. His eyes were deep. When he looked at me, I felt like he knew everything about me. He knew every secret I had ever had. He knew every bad thought. And yet, he did not look at me with hate. He looked at me with a sadness and a love that was too big for me to understand. I knew who he was. I did not need anyone to tell me. My book said he was just a prophet who lived a long time ago. But my heart knew the truth in that moment. This was not just a prophet. This was the Master. Isa, I whispered. That is the name we use for Jesus. He took a step toward me. The dark void disappeared completely. Now there was only him and his light. He spoke to me. His voice was not like a human voice. It sounded like the ocean, deep and powerful. He did not speak in Arabic or English. He spoke directly to my heart. I understood every word instantly. I am the way, the truth, and the life, he said. I am not just a messenger who came and went, Ibrahim. I am the beginning and the end. My legs felt weak. I fell down. I was shaking. But surely you are a prophet, I stuttered. I tried to use the arguments I had used my whole life. You are the son of Mary. You cannot be God. God does not have a son. It is not right. He did not get angry. He did not argue with me. He just looked at me gently. You tried to put the ocean into a small cup, he said. And because it cannot hold it, you say the ocean is not real. You judge the creator by the limits of a human. Come with me. You have built your house on the sand. Let me show you what happens. He reached out his hand to help me up. I looked at his hand. I saw a scar in the middle of his palm. It was a deep, ugly mark where a nail had gone through. I stared at it. My religion taught me that Jesus never died on the cross. We were taught it was a trick or that someone else took his place. But here he was. The scars were real. He was the one who died, and he was alive. Look, he said. He waved his hand, and suddenly I saw a vision. It was like watching a movie, but I was inside it. I saw a huge library. It went on for miles. The shelves were made of heavy stone. They were full of millions of books. These were the holy books I had studied, books of laws, books of rules, books of history, books written by famous scholars. I saw my own books there too. It looked impressive. It looked like a mountain of wisdom. It represented centuries of men trying to define God with words. This is the work of servants, Jesus said. Watch. Then he breathed. It was just a soft breath, like a whisper. But as his breath hit the books, the stone began to crack. The books turned to dust. The pages crumbled like dry leaves in a fire. The ink disappeared. The shelves fell down with a huge crash. In just a few seconds, all that knowledge, all those laws, all those arguments I had memorized, they were all gone. There was nothing left but a pile of gray dust. The wind blew the dust away, leaving a dry wasteland. You look for life in words written by men, Jesus said. But rules cannot give you life. Only the Spirit gives life. You have memorized thousands of words, Ibrahim, but you do not know the word of God. You have studied the map, but you never walked the path. I watched the dust settle. I felt a pain in my chest. But we were trying to obey, I whispered. We wanted to do what was right. Obedience without knowing me is just slavery, he replied. I do not want slaves. I want sons. The vision changed. Now I was looking at the Kaaba in Mecca. It is the black box that all Muslims face when they pray. I saw millions of people walking around it in white clothes. I heard their loud prayers. I felt the old feeling of respect. I felt the pull of that place. But then Jesus touched my eyes. See with the eyes of truth, he whispered. Everything changed. The black cloth covering the box became clear like glass. I could see inside the box. I always believed that God's presence was there in a special way, but it was empty. There was no light inside. There was no spirit. It was just an empty room. I saw the prayers of the people. They looked like smoke rising up from the crowd. The people were crying and begging God for mercy. But the smoke did not go up to heaven. It hit a ceiling and bounced back down. It just swirled around the empty box and disappeared into the ground. They were crying out to a memory, not a living person. They are walking around a shadow, Jesus said. His voice sounded so sad. They are looking for God's house, but they reject the master of the house. They kiss a stone that cannot hear them, but they reject the living stone. I felt like crying. But they are trying so hard, I said. Lord, look at them. They are sincere. Surely you cannot ignore them. They are calling on the Creator. I know they are sincere, Jesus replied, and I weep for them. But being sincere is not enough if you are wrong. A man can drink poison believing it is water, but it will still kill him. They are slaves to a set of rules, but they do not know the Father. They are knocking on a door that has no handle. The vision changed again. I was standing in a beautiful green garden. It had rivers of milk and honey, just like my book promised paradise would be. I saw soft couches and fruit trees. It looked like a place of perfect pleasure, but as I walked through the garden, I felt lonely. I looked for God, but He was not there. The garden was full of things, but empty of the Creator. It was a golden cage. It was a paradise made for men who loved pleasure more than they loved God. This is the reward you were promised, Jesus said. A place where your stomach is full, but your soul is empty. Is this what you want, Ibrahim? An eternity of eating and drinking? Or do you want me? He waved his hand, and the garden disappeared. In its place, I saw a city of light. There were no rivers of wine, but the city was alive. The light did not come from the sun. It came from God Himself. The joy in this place was not from food. It was the joy of a child coming home. True paradise is not what God gives you, Jesus said. True paradise is God Himself. You were taught to seek the gifts. I am telling you to seek the giver. Then the visions became scary. I saw a huge weighing scale hanging in the dark sky. This is what every Muslim fears, the day of judgment when our deeds are weighed. On one side of the scale, I saw a pile of big dark stones. These were my sins, my pride, my anger, the lies I told, the hatred I had for others. It was a huge mountain of heavy stones. I saw the hidden things too, my jealousy, my doubts, the lack of love in my heart. On the other side, I saw my good deeds. They looked like gold coins, my prayers, my fasting, the money I gave to the poor. I felt a little hope. Maybe the gold would be heavier than the stones. I had worked so hard as an Imam. But as I watched, the gold coins started to rot. They turned into rusted, dirty metal. I saw the truth inside them. I saw that when I prayed, I often did it so people would respect me. When I fasted, I felt proud that I was better than others. My good deeds were not pure. They were covered in selfishness. They were hollow. The scale slammed down. The side with the sins was so heavy it hit the bottom instantly. The side with the good deeds flew up. They were worthless. You cannot buy heaven with fake money, Jesus said. Your righteousness is like dirty rags. You stand before the holy God, offering Him your pride. I fell to my knees. I was sobbing. Then there is no hope. I screamed into the dark. If this is true, nobody can be saved. We are all lost. No one is perfect. That, Jesus said very softly, is why I came. He walked over to the scale. He did not put a book on it. He did not put a sermon on it. He reached out his hand and a single drop of blood fell from his finger. It shone like a star. It was full of life. He let that single drop of blood fall onto the empty light side of the scale. Boom! The scale flew up. The mountain of my sins was thrown away into the darkness like it weighed nothing. That one drop of his blood was heavier than the whole universe. It was heavier than my sin. It was heavier than all the sins of the world. It was the weight of infinite love. The price is paid, he said, not by your work, but by my blood. You have been trying to cross the ocean by swimming, Ibrahim. You will drown. I am the ship. Then I saw one more vision. It was the scariest one. I saw a deep, wide canyon. It was bottomless. On one side was us, humanity, lost in the dark. On the other side was God in heaven. In the middle there was fire and silence. In my religion, we talk about a bridge called the Sirat that goes over hell. It is thinner than a hair and sharper than a sword. I saw it. I saw millions of people trying to walk on it. They were trembling. They were screaming as they slipped and fell into the dark. It was impossible to cross. Then I saw Jesus walk to the edge of the cliff. He did not try to walk on a tightrope. He laid himself down. His body grew and stretched until he reached the other side. His hands held one side and his feet held the other. He became the bridge. I am the door, he called out to me. I am the way. No one crosses over on their own feet. You must walk on me. You must trust that I can hold you. The visions faded. I was back in the white light with him. The silence returned, but it was not empty anymore. It was full of his presence. Ibrahim, he said. His voice was final. You have seen that your rituals are empty. You have seen that the truth is costly. You cannot forget this. The scale you use to trust is broken. You cannot build a safe house on the sand. What must I do? I asked, shaking. Lord, if I go back, if I tell people this, I will lose everything. My father will hate me. My community will reject me. I will lose my honor. You will lose your life in this world, Jesus said, looking deep into my soul with a fierce love. But you will keep it for eternity. Anyone who tries to save their life will lose it. But anyone who loses their life for me will find it. He stepped closer. My sheep are sleeping, Ibrahim. They are trapped in a field with no food. They are starving for the truth. Go back, wake them up. I am scared, I admitted. I am weak. Fear is from the enemy, he said. I have defeated the world. You will not be alone. My spirit will be inside you. When you speak, it will be my voice. When you suffer, I will be with you. When you have joy, it will be my joy. He reached out and placed his hand on my chest, right over my heart. Receive the truth. As soon as he touched me, a wave of heat went through my body. It wasn't painful. It felt like life rushing back into me. It felt like a strong wind blowing away all the dust and cobwebs in my soul. I felt the heavy chains of rules and fear falling off me. I felt free for the first time in my life. I belong to you, I shouted. Jesus, I belong to you. Go, he whispered. The light became so bright it blinded me. Then suddenly, pain. I gasped for air. It hurt to breathe. The air smelled like medicine and old coffee. I heard a beeping sound. Beep, beep. My eyes flew open. The bright lights of a hospital room hurt my eyes. I tried to move, but my body felt heavy. Pain roared in my chest and leg. He is awake. Allah is great. He is awake. It was my wife, Fatima. She was crying. I blinked, trying to see. I was in a hospital bed. There were tubes in my arms. My leg was in a big cast hanging up in the air. My chest hurt every time I took a breath. My father was there too. He was sitting in a chair. He looked very tired and old. His beard was gray and his face was full of worry. When he saw my eyes open, he stood up, his hands shaking. Ibrahim, he said, sounding relieved. We thought we lost you. The doctors said you were gone, but we prayed. Allah saved you. It is a miracle, Fatima cried, holding my hand and kissing it. Her face was wet with tears. We prayed the special prayers for you. Allah has returned you to us. I looked at them. I loved them. My heart ached for them in a way it never had before. Before, I loved them because they were my family. Now, I looked at them and saw souls. I saw the hunger in their eyes. I saw the heavy chains of religious rules wrapped around their necks. They couldn't see the chains, but I could. I tried to speak, but my throat was very dry. My wife quickly held a straw to my lips. I drank the water fast. The truck, I whispered. It crushed the car, my father said. His voice sounded strong again. You should not be alive, my son. It is a sign. Allah has saved you for a great purpose. You must have more sermons to give. You must have more work to do for the faith. The words hit me hard. I closed my eyes. Instantly, I saw the scale again. I saw the single drop of blood outweighing the universe. I saw the empty Kaaba. I could remain silent. I could nod, get better, go back to the mosque, and live my life. I could pretend it was a dream. It would be so easy. I would keep my family. I would keep my respect, but I knew it wasn't a dream. The fire of his hand was still burning on my chest. I could feel it. The truth was burning inside me. Keeping quiet felt like betraying him. I opened my eyes and looked at my father. I saw him. My father smiled. You saw the angel? You saw the prophet? No, I said. My voice was weak but steady. I saw the truth. I saw Jesus. The room went quiet. My wife froze, the cup of water shaking in her hand. My father's smile disappeared. You are confused, he said. The accident was bad. You hit your head. You do not know what you are saying. I am not confused, I said. I pushed myself up against the pillows, even though it hurt. I was dead, Father. I was in the dark. There were no angels. There was no comfort. There was only emptiness until he came. Be silent, my father warned. His voice was low. You are talking nonsense. I cannot be silent, I said. Tears filled my eyes. We are wrong, Father. We are wrong. I saw our prayers. They were hitting a ceiling of smoke. I saw our deeds. They were rusted coins. I saw the holy house, and it was empty. We are worshiping a shadow. Ibrahim, my wife hissed. She looked at the door in panic. Stop! If the nurses hear, if the neighbors hear, let them hear, I said, my voice getting louder. I met him. He showed me the scars in his hands. He is not just a prophet. He is the Son of God. He is the bridge. He told me that rejecting him is like wrapping chains around ourselves. My father's face turned red with anger. He stepped forward, clenching his fists. You call the holy book a lie? You call the prophet a liar? I am saying that Jesus is Lord, I answered, looking him in the eye, and that there is no other name under heaven that can save us. I cannot go back to the mosque. I cannot preach the lie anymore. I belong to Christ. The silence in the room was terrible. It was the silence before a storm. My father raised his hand and slapped me. It was not a hard blow, but it shocked me. The devil has taken your mind, he spat. You are not my son. My son died in that car. You are a traitor. You are filth. Baba, please, I begged, reaching out my hand. I want you to be saved. I want you to know the peace I feel right now. It is real. It is more real than this bed. Do not speak to me of peace, he shouted. You bring shame. You bring hellfire on this house. After all I taught you? After all your years of study? He turned to Fatima. Come, leave him. Fatima looked at me. Her eyes were wide with fear and confusion. She loved me, I knew that. But the fear of the community was stronger. She pulled her hand away from mine. Ibrahim, how could you? She whispered. You are the Imam. Because it is the truth, Fatima, I said softly. And I cannot deny it. I saw the cross. I saw the empty tomb. I cannot go back to sleep. She covered her face and ran out of the room. My father stood at the door, his back to me. I will tell the doctors to stop treating you. I will tell the family you are dead. Do not come back to my house. Do not come back to the neighborhood. If I see you again, I will not treat you as a son. I will treat you as an enemy of the faith. He walked out and slammed the door. I was alone again. The room was white and cold. My body was broken. I had no money, no home, no family, no job. I was an outcast in the city where I used to be a leader. I had traded a comfortable life of lies for a hard life of truth. But as I lay there, feeling the pain in my leg, a strange feeling washed over me. The hospital room seemed to fill with a soft, golden light. It wasn't something I could see with my eyes, but I felt it in my soul. I felt a presence standing by the bed. You will not be alone, he had said. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time in my life, I wasn't praying to earn points. I wasn't praying to avoid punishment. I wasn't facing a stone cube. I was speaking to a father who heard me. Lord Jesus, I whispered into the quiet room. I have lost the world, but I have found you. It is enough. My name is Ibrahim. I used to be a slave, walking toward a cliff, thinking I was climbing a mountain. Now I am a son, and I have just begun to live. The road ahead is dangerous, I know this. They may kill me, as he said, but they cannot kill the life that is now inside me. I have seen the light, and I will never walk in the darkness again.